That's not what I was expecting at all.
Well, I suspect that's a compliment, so thank you, darling. I'm so thrilled you're here. Bobby, sweetie.
Good job, hon.
Oh, I'm in heaven. Chris, darling, this is Bobby Gilbert. He does something frantically important for something or other.
I'm in steel.
This is Chris Isherwood.
Christopher. Hey, Chris.
Any day now, Bobby's going to whisk me off to Hollywood, aren't you, darling?
You bet.
And I've told him all about you.
Huh.
Chris is absolutely my best friend. He's the writer.
Oh, yeah. Right. Would I read anything of yours, Chris?
Oh, no, but I've told him if he really sticks at it, he could write something really great, like Noel Coward or something. Couldn't you, darling?
What's the matter, Christoph? You don't like me tonight? Hey, Christoph, what's the matter?
I don't like being taken for an idiot. That's what's the matter. You'll say you'll meet me, then you don't turn up. You take money off me and say you'll pay me back, but never do. It's getting to the point where I can't believe anything you tell me.
Yes, I understand. I understand. Some of the girls I see, they're like that. They say things and then let me down, and it makes me mad. And when I see them, I always pay them, I never hit them, and still they let me down. But you know, Christoph, some of them, they are so beautiful, and they make me so happy, and I just forget how mad I am.
You bastard!
Your eyes, Christoph. They shine so bright when you're hot for me.
Caspar. He gave me a cheap gold-plated bracelet, probably an unwanted gift from some admirer, and fastened it around my wrist. A love token, I fondly thought. But then he disappeared. I asked around, but no one knew where he was. I should have listened to Whiston. Perhaps it was just a business transaction after all.
So, meine Hübschen, Zeit zum Aufwärmen. 2 Minuten, meine Liebe.
It must be simply marvellous to be a novelist.
Why's that?
Because when people are utterly foul to you, you can sit down and write about them and tell the whole world how perfectly vile they are and make simply pots of money out of it.
It hasn't quite worked out like that yet.
Darling, you've been an angel like my Siggy.
Actually, I've been offered the chance to earn a bit extra.
Take it.
Writing the occasional letter from Berlin and doing the odd book review.
Darling, that's marvellous. Let's have champagne.
It's for a magazine called Action.
Oswald Mosley's rag.
How do you know it, then?
Of course I know it. I may wear green nail varnish. I'm not completely vacuous.
I've always meant to ask, why do you wear green nail varnish?
Have you said yes?
Not yet.
You're not going to.
Well, I wouldn't write anything political.
Writing anything for that lot would be a statement of sorts, even if it was for the cookery column.
The money would come in awfully handy.
Christopher, you can't.
But, Jean...
I wouldn't talk to you again, and that's an end to it.
I was just testing the water, that's all. I wasn't really going to write anything for them. Honestly, I wasn't.
I'm one to talk. Gosh, you know the things I've done for money. The people here are so strange. You know, they have simply no idea. And the Nazis are getting more and more of a foothold, and they just seem to accept it. You know, I've even heard some people talk of a brighter future, as if all this ghastliness were a price worth paying. They're going to get the most awful shock unless they make a stand, which you and I must do. We must not throw in the towel. Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't really know.
My Gott!
Morning, darling.
Gott in Himmel! Dear, I hope he won't do himself a mischief. He ought to be more careful at his time of life.
Oh, Bobby, darling. You do that so well. You must teach me one day how to catch it in my mouth.
You bet, honey.
Thank you.
To the memorial.
The memorial.
Yeah. So, do you think I'd enjoy your book, Chris?
Well, I'm not sure what sort of books you like, Bobby.
What do you think, hon?
I haven't a clue, darling, but I expect it's astoundingly brilliant. And the point is, it's published. His second novel in print. And he's even had a letter of congratulation from E.M. Forrester.
Forster.
Oh.
Wow.
And it won't be long now till our Chris is just as famous.
Say, who's that guy in the wig?
Gerald.
Well, I could swear that Gerald was peeking through the keyhole while I was in the John. Yeah, when I came out, he didn't know where to look.
I expect he knew exactly where to look.
Yeah. Right.
Bobby, darling, I adore champagne. We'll have it every day, won't we, once you whisk me off to Hollywood?
Sure thing.
Bobby! Naughty Bobby!
Excuse me. Entschuldigung bitte. Ich habe dich schon einmal gesehen. Du warst am Kirm. I was in the cafe and you were... Do you remember? No. Well, why should you? My name is Christopher. Perhaps you'd like to go for ein Bier? No. Okay. I'm sorry.
His name was Heinz, where he was innocent, vulnerable, and uncritical. A boy I could protect and cherish as my very own. Jean thought it was all frightfully jolly and decided I was at last doing my bit for the class struggle. And as Heinz and I drew ever closer, I had no hesitation in falling in love.
Oh, Blumen. Schau mal, Gerhard, der Gentleman hat mir Blumen mitgebracht.
Ja, sehr schön, Mutti.
Willst du ihm nicht deinen Platz anbieten?
Schon gut. Wir gehen aus.
Gerhard studiert Maschinenbau an der Abendschule.
Ich glaube nicht, dass das den Gentleman interessiert, Mutti.
Wie geht es Ihnen, Frau Niedermeyer?
Ach, schlechter denn je. Und diese Wohnung ist so feucht.
Ja, Ratten wird nicht hausen.
She need to be in hospital, but there is no bed.
Lass mal, ist schon in Ordnung.
Entschuldigen Sie.
Geh du mal aus mit deinem Freund, wir schaffen das. Mutti.
Tell him if I don't get what I want, he knows what to expect. Don't you, Gerald?
Some people seem to be utterly lacking in consideration.
Tell me what it's about, Gerald.
Oh, it's a business transaction, that's all. It went slightly awry.
What sort of business?
Do you know, Christopher, you're looking as joyous as the first day of spring.
Gerald!
I was offered a small fee to help someone get his hands on a police dossier.
Yes?
But actually, it was a positively glacial sum that would have paid off my debts at a stroke. And you know what? The wretched man simply vanished. Disparu, without paying me a single pfennig.
So who was that at the door?
It's a Philistine, my dear, claiming interest on a little loan.
A loan for what?
Oh, do keep up, dear boy. For the money I needed to bribe the police to get the dossier.
Well, what on earth were you thinking of?
The trouble is everyone's so greedy nowadays. And dishonest. Simply can't trust a soul.
Gerald,
Yes?
your wig slipped.
My dear Christopher, I've had to leave Berlin at very short notice, which made it impossible for me to communicate with you. Our friend at the door finally lost patience, and matters got a little out of hand. Try not to think too hardly of me, dear boy. That would be more than I could bear. As always, your affectionate Gerald.
Ach, Herr Christoph, ich bin ja so froh.
Thank you for bed at last.
Ah, that's very good news, Frau Neddemeyer.
Ich muss mir ein neues Kleid schneidern. Die Schwestern stellen da Ansprüche, wissen Sie.
She make dress to look nice in the sanatorium.
Oh, I see. Well, it would be, bitte erlauben Sie mir, Ihnen einen Freuden zu machen. Ein Geschenk in der Hoffnung, dass es Ihnen bald wieder gut geht.
Oh, haben Sie vielen Dank, Herr Christoph. Ach, er muss zur Abendschule.
Need to see his Nazi friends.
Gerhard ist etwas hitzköpfig, aber er ist ein guter Junge, wirklich. Ach, Herr Christoph, Dankeschön. Sie sind so freundlich.